Hi, this is Roy Worley. Welcome to the interview show that brings on guests from all walks of life. Yeah, it's here that they tell their stories and delve a little deeper into their lives to see what got them where they are. So grab a drink, have a seat, and relax, because this is the Leo Effect.
When was the last time a short movie shook your emotions to the core? When was the last time a short movie caused you to rethink everything you stood for? When was the last time a short movie made you proud to be an American? When was the last time you felt the emotion to stand up and cheer after a short movie? The new short movie, I've Got Your Six, written and directed by Bill Foster, one of the industry's newest and fastest climbing directors, will answer all of those questions. Rarely has there been so much packed into a short movie that when you leave, you'll feel more proud of our American military veterans. A movie that was cast only with American military veterans will have you on the edge of your seat, cheering for our veterans and what makes America great. I've Got Your Six will be hitting the film festival scene soon. Be prepared to drop what you're doing and go see this powerful movie when it comes to your area. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Leo Effects. Tonight, I am joined by a very, very special little group here. These two people have already had me laughing before we even thought about hitting record. So allow me to introduce to you Jorie and Mario. Hello, how are ya?
How you doing?
Ray.
Hey, Ray, thanks. We're that little group. We're about 2'6", but we're getting on it. We're working on it.
Well, that's the whole reason that we've got you on here tonight, is so that you can tell the listeners, more about yourself, and we can get you some more exposure. So maybe you won't be such a little group anymore. You'll be huge.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, brother. Really. Thanks.
Absolutely. So the first thing that I'm going to ask and kind of get this ball rolling would be, what is it that you do? Why did you come on the show tonight?
Well, we were abducted on the way to the store today.
You're not supposed to tell them how I got you here.
Show. No, I'm kidding. No, we're honored to be on your show, Ray.
Yes, we are.
We found out about it not too long ago, and it was like, wow, this is great. This is cool. We'd love to be on the show, and you shoot the questions, we'll shoot back the answers, and we'll have some laughs, and maybe people will know what we're all about.
Yeah, I absolutely hope so. So, you all are in a band, yeah?
Yes, we are.
We're the Pondhawks.
We
are the Pondhawks.
And
Pondhawk, which is a species of dragonfly, and it's also kind of a euphemism for dragonfly in some states.
Oh, okay. And
Pondhawk, it's the hawk of the insect world that skims along the surface of the. And the guitar I play, I got a bass and it's also a 6-string guitar. It's a violin-shaped body, like a Hofner, and it's kind of very symmetrical. It looks like the body of a dragonfly to me. It always kind of did. And I got this Tiffany lamp, and I go, oh, it kind of looks like my Hofner, and put some wings on it. And I go, and we came up with a logo long before we came up with the name, the Pondhawks. Originally, we were Jorie. Tell them.
Well,
we
were in another band, yeah, and we just kind of had reason to form a new band, and
an
Mario,
implosion, yeah.
Yeah, it was an implosion. And Mario had this book on dragonflies, and he had come up with this logo. And I said,
we love nature anyway, so
Right. And we were just, it was going through the pages to decide, because we wanted a dragonfly type name. Kind of like, we're Beatle fans and stuff, so it's like the Beatles, the Crickets, so we had to be some sort of bug.
Insect.
Okay.
Insect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, we were going to call ourselves the tapeworms, but that didn't work.
Yeah, psychedelic tapeworms, don't.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What was it that inspired you to go down this path? What got you into music in the first place? Let's start there.
Well,
For me,
Jorie,
it
go
was
ahead for
kind of,
you.
yeah. For me, it was, I guess I just wanted to play an instrument, So, and I wanted to play piano when I was younger. And I used to go over to a neighbor's house that had a piano, and I'd try and play that. And I told my parents, I really want to play piano. And they said, well, we're going to get you a guitar, because, yeah, well, it's kind of that thing, the piano is like, what, $3,000 or whatever. So they bought me a guitar from Sears. And I think in 2 years, the thing fell apart because I played it so much. And I learned how to play guitar. I had lessons and things like that. And then I was in bands, like, in high school and college and stuff. So, just went from there. But I never gave up wanting to play piano. And when I was a kid, I used to stay at my aunt's house in Los Angeles area there. And she was a singer on Mercury Records. And she had this white grand piano that was kind of like the John Lennon piano.
Oh, okay.
And, but I was a kid, so I was, fooling around, on the piano and stuff like that. But later on, when it got to about the 80s, and I really dig the 80s Britpop music with the synths and stuff like that, I just bought myself a little keyboard and taught myself how to play by ear.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, when I met Mario, it was kind of like, if you got room, maybe I could play some keyboards, in the bands. So,
neat.
And I'll pass it over to Mario.
Of course, we made room. Of course.
Yeah,
we made room. Indubitably. But, and then for me, it was the Monkees. It was the Monkees because I just missed the whole Beatles thing. I've got a sister that's 13 years older. Drags me, I'm 4 years old, drags me out to see A Hard Day's Night. I'm standing on this chair, which is like, and I keep falling down because the thing keeps going up and nothing but people screaming the whole time. And I go, that'd be kind of cool to do. I'm 4 years old. I go, that'd be kind of cool to do when I get old.
Yeah.
And then that's a good job. No, I've done that, but well, anyway. So but it was the Monkees. The Monkees were geared for 6 and 7 year old kids, and 1966. Bam, it was it. And I go, that's it. I want to do that. And huge, And then when I found out later on, as I got older, that Michael Nesmith wrote a lot of those songs, I became a huge Michael Nesmith fan. And then later on, it was my birthday, and I was like 14, and I just turned 14, and my buddy goes, hey, this is Beatles group. They got the Red and the Blue album out. And that was a Wings. I dug the Wings. Wings was like, that was cool. Not even putting two and two together. And I was like, And I'm digging, like, the Beatles had the Red and the Blue album out. And I bought the Blue album first. I go, oh, this is that same group. And I was like, well, I'm living in a cave. But they never really played the B-sides on the albums.
Right.
They played them on the cartoons. That was about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the Monkees. Then it was the Beatles. Then it was Jim Croce, Michael Nesmith, and Jorie Grayson. All my favorite musicians.
And Wings. Yeah. Wings was in there. Yeah. Paul McCartney, for sure.
That's
Definitely.
great. And where are y'all based out of?
Well, we're in Illinois.
Chicagoland area.
Okay. All right. That's fair. What would you say?
I'm based out of the basement right about now.
Right. And what would you say, like, how would you describe your sound that you're going for? Because I know when I listen to it, how I would describe it, but I want to hear it from, the musician's point of view.
Well, I believe, and I used to do a lot of theater too, whether you're an actor or whether you're a musician or a songwriter or a playwright, whatever, everybody in the entertainment field, and probably everybody everywhere, is a chameleon of sorts, and we all absorb a bit of our surroundings. So Jorie and I, the groups and the sounds, we kind of absorbed a bit of. So you'll hear some, even like of our older siblings, some 50s and '60s, and we all absorb a bit of that, and it's kind of a mesh of a lot of Beatles and Monkees and Everly Brothers. Huge Everly Brothers fans. I had, being the little kids, Jorie and I are the youngest siblings of our families, so we inherited all those 50s and early 60s 45s and stuff. Huge Everly Brothers. And when Jorie and I write music, we do write a lot of two-part harmony, and we try not to do that simplex two-part harmony. We like to do the little bit more Everly Brothers, which the Beatles kind of copped into a bit too, and they'll be the first ones to tell you that they love that stuff.
Yeah, so I would say that we're kind of I don't know. We listen to all kinds of music, and I think our own sound is kind of we filter all those other sounds, and when it comes out, it's our sound. But you can hear a lot of our influence from these, classic rock bands, and it's it's an appreciation of all music, and our parents, they played music from so long ago, and you can just hear music in a different way when you're listening to that compared to the music now, and it just brings out other things in your mind when you're thinking about it. Like we did a song called Time Flies on our first album, The Pondhawks Has Landed, which was about Buddy Holly.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah, and we kind of did it in that style, and a lot of the lyrics in there were pieces of his songs. I mean, titles and stuff.
They were like little hidden cookies.
Hidden cookies.
Yeah,
Moon
Dream Lullabies, things like that. We purposely, wrote the lyrics that way. And at the very end of that song, and just, thinking, it's like the 50s, when he was alive and he's playing that, and it was vinyl, of course, which is coming back. I thought it would be really cool at the very end of the song to have the scratches of the vinyl, because, a lot of people have never heard that. Yeah.
And the scratches of the vinyl are a record that her aunt Thelma, who did, was with Mercury Records.
Mercury. Yeah, it was her album I put on the turntable, and I recorded
got a
the
little
scratches.
hidden
it was like a
for us
tribute to
too.
her. Yeah. Yeah.
And at the beginning, because it was Buddy Holly, Jorie and I ran down to the railroad tracks at the end of my block, and we recorded. It was 2 or 3 crickets going. I was like, I wish it was a whole, flock of crickets. And so we kept over and over. We hit these 3 or 4 crickets, and we put them on like 12 different tracks, and it sounds like a fleet of crickets at the beginning. So Buddy Holly, the crickets. The crickets.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
made them panoramic.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So when we write the music, we kind of, we think of all these things we can do. We did a song called "Wire Me," which the story behind that song, it's "Wire Me When You Get to the Moon." It's kind of the song itself.
It's a nod. It's a nod to Jorie's dad. Jorie's dad invented some wire that was used at the NASA project when they went to the moon.
Oh, wow.
And he had asked, right, and so we wanted to throw a nod to him, and I was like, hey, I got an idea. And we won't let anybody know that he's the guy, but we'll say, and that's Sidney Grayson, and we say, wire me when you get to the moon. And he, his spirit's still alive, as everybody's is, and he'll know what we're talking about. And it was
and my dad, when my dad was like in World War II, he was, a flyer, and he did the Morse code. So in the song, there's the Morse code that spells out Sid, my dad's name.
Wow.
S-I-D.
That's
And the
some deep
little
stuff.
cookie things,
Yeah, there's like astronaut and space noise in this song. It's pretty cool. It's on our Blue Light album, our latest album. So
Nice.
it's called
little things that we hear, and maybe the people beyond can pick up and dig. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the whole deal with the song "Afraid of Love" and the Grammys?
Well, it was
Oh,
our
that's
third. It was our third time that we made the Grammy ballot.
the first ballot.
First one was 20.
First ballot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
first ballot, and it was 2016 was the first time. It was for the Blue Light album. There was like, I believe, 13 different categories that we got on with that one. And then 2 years, a year back in 2019, the song River Grove made the Grammy ballot, first ballot. And then now it was Afraid of Love. Afraid of Love is written on several different levels. Because it could be a romantic love. You're afraid of romantic love. You may be afraid of love just because you're just paranoid about the whole commitment thing, or you may be afraid to love somebody, whether as a lover or a friend, just because they're different, and they shouldn't be. And you shouldn't be ever afraid to love somebody because you're afraid of love, or you're afraid because they're different, or anything. That's what makes the world go round. And then we're trying to
Yeah. And we're trying to, make, it's like he said, it's all different levels, and it, includes things that are happening in our society now, where there's a lot of hatred and stuff, and the world really needs love and understanding.
That's right.
And,
don't be afraid
what it's
to
about.
love.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's such a great message. That's awesome.
Yeah,
We like
that's
to
what
put
it's all
messages
about.
in our songs.
Yeah.
If you're afraid to love on any level, you're missing the boat. Because let me tell you, this is not a dress rehearsal. This is it.
Yeah. No kidding. This is your one chance. That's great.
Yeah.
And I love that you put the little Easter eggs in there, the little hidden things and the head nods, and that's so great.
Yeah.
Like that's such a deep level thing. And I gotta say, anybody that has not had the pleasure of hearing like the initial crackle and pop when you put the needle down on a record or lift it up, they're missing out.
Right. If you're candy, we do that. Especially if you're wearing headphones, we kind of design the music so it's three-dimensional. It moves around, behind you and everything. And Afraid of Love, if you listen to the very end, you hear something very psychedelic that kind of moves around your head.
Yeah.
Right.
So
but you gotta kind of hear it on earbuds or headphones for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Reverb Connect?
Yeah.
Or Reverb Nation. Yeah, go ahead, Jorie.
Yeah, that's something that they put together, I think about 5 years ago. And what they did was they spent a lot of years with software. And I think a lot of these platforms that have bands on them, besides Reverb Nation, do the same thing. And basically, it electronically listens to music because there's probably millions of songs on there on every platform. And who's going to sit there and listen to all this stuff, right? So they had some sort of software that could seek out better music in some way, because they're all looking for the next Beatles or whatever. And we got a call a few years back where they said that we've picked your band for Connect. We were like, what's Connect? And they said, yeah, we're kind of like the A&R people affiliated with Reverb Nation, and they picked a couple of our songs. They're curator picks. So they
out of millions of bands.
Yeah. At the time.
So I mean, we were really, really happy they were drinking that night. And they goofed up and caught us.
Well, they told us they said they picked out about 250 bands out of 4 million, and we were in that 250.
That is just mind blowing.
That is.
That is.
Thank
great.
goodness for typos. No, that's
That's cool. What do you think the next big thing is for the Pondhawks?
Well, we're working on 5 new songs right now.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I mean, the lyrics were flying out for us today. It was one of those days sometimes.
Oh
we
were doing lyrics.
Today it was flying.
So when y'all sit down,
one of those days.
When y'all sit down and you're doing the lyrics, do you do the music at the same time, or kind of like hum a melody? Or how does song building go for you?
Both. Rarely it's both. A lot of times it's one or the other first. And it's just like doing a crossword puzzle backwards. And, it's kind of the luxury, like, oh, now we got this. We got the melody, we got the chords, and blah, 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 and we're all, it's going to be fun. We're going to sit back, relax, have a couple, and, just write some lyrics. And then, whatever you write, it's never going to be the final product. But, as far as lyrics, that's just the way it goes. That's just, It's just the way it is. But,
it's sort of like...
But it's fun.
It sounds
it's
fun.
Like when you're doing that, you're like so excited. Oh yeah, this is it, and then you go a day later, you listen to it, and you go, oh no, we got to fix this.
Right. But you can't. But the thing is, Ray, you can't force yourself to write something. It's got to be something that you've seen or heard or done that really sets you in the mood. Say, oh man, this really blew me away. I got to write about this, and then it just purges forth, and that's it.
I got you.
And we have our own recording studio, so we do everything ourselves.
It's very modest.
Oh, wow.
It's ours, but it's very modest.
Well, still, I mean, that's impressive. Most people don't have modest, just a recording studio.
It's very modest, but it does have a ghost.
And it's haunted. Yeah.
Maybe two.
Well, I mean, as long as they're willing to. As long as they're willing to put in on the songs, I mean, I guess that's okay.
Oh, they do.
Well, hell, we give it a credit on the album. Are you kidding?
Yeah, right.
We really do.
We got some EVP.
We have since the first album. We always give a credit.
Out of the place a few times after hearing those.
We're like,
EVP.
I swear, the first album on the liner notes were like, knock once if you want a credit. Knock twice if you want to be acknowledged. Boom, boom. Knock 3 times if you want to cut. Boom, boom, boom,
That's great.
Cut of the action.
Yeah, right. Knock for the percentage points you want to be paid. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get any royalties, Mr. Ghost.
Right.
Now, most people would consider what you do, well, I guess not on the same level as you, because what you do is technically a career. But some people, they kind of do this as a hobby. But what kind of hobbies do you enjoy when you're not writing music?
George, go ahead, kid.
Well, my other profession, is photographer.
Oh, wow, okay.
And
became quite a famous photographer too.
Yes. My photographs were like in People, Newsweek, Rolling Stone.
Paul McCartney album.
Paul McCartney.
Wow.
Yep.
Yes.
Here's the photo. And I wrote a book about Paul McCartney, a photo book that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame library.
What?
Yeah, and she was so nice. Let me tell you what a nice person she is. She's such a sweetheart. I mean, they said, okay, you get a brick in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Wow. She was, can I go in as a Pondhawks? Yeah, sure. She was, I kind of put my friend, my songwriting partner, yeah, she puts my name above hers. Who in the hell ever does that?
Oh my gosh, what a sweetheart.
What a sweetheart. I'm telling you.
Yes. We have a brick there.
So now the people can spit their gum on me. So,
Yeah, yes. Throw their garbage on it, whatever.
There you go. Spit that gum out. There's a good name.
And what about you, Mario? What do you do in your spare time?
Well, I enjoy, like I say, nature. I've got terrariums and aquariums all over the place. I've got a pond in my backyard, tiny little pond, I just enjoy nature. I study nature.
Cool.
That's about it.
All right, and back to Jorie, because that was
Yeah, we got some really good Paul McCartney stories coming up.
Oh yeah.
That's great. Now, were you able to actually meet Paul McCartney?
Oh yeah, several times. He invited me to a party in London to launch the album that I had a photo on.
Oh, nice.
I got an invitation to the party, and it was fun. There was only like 90 people there, and Paul and Linda were there, and Stella and Mary were there. That's his daughters. They were young, and there were a lot of they rented out a restaurant that was about a block away from Paul McCartney's office in Soho, and I believe it was called the Broadway at that time. And they had, the band was there. It was Paul's employees. MTV was there because he was going to be given a Guinness Award, so they got that all on video and stuff. And there were a lot of drunken people there, It was an open bar, and of course, I'm there, and I'm like, I have to like stalk Paul now. I got to see everything he's doing and what he's eating. It's all vegetarian, We had to go downstairs, and they had a buffet, and upstairs. The band and Paul, they would go upstairs and do these TV interviews because this was like December 1990 and was the end of their world tour. So they were, launching this album, which was the live album, Tripping the Live Fantastic. And it was interesting, being at a party, with Paul McCartney. That would probably been the last thing I ever thought would happen to me. And the thing is, because, I was doing the photography at the time, I was like torn, like, I can't walk around here and take pictures of him, because it's kind of rude, it's his party and stuff like that. But I did get in a couple of conversations with him. There was one of my friends was talking to him, and at that time he had done a video of the 89-90 tour, and it wasn't out yet. It eventually came out. It was called Get Back, and I said to him, I said, Paul, and he says, yeah. I said, I hope you have Soldiers Field, Chicago in this video, because that was like the last show of the tour, and he went, well, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I hope it'll be in there. And it was in at the end.
Oh, man, that's great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
What advice would each of you give to somebody that was just setting out in this career?
Never, ever mix beer and wine.
That is some good advice.
I'm just telling you. Go ahead, Jorie.
Yeah, right. And if you're going to do some songwriting, get a partner like Johnny Walker,
There you go.
Perfect.
The recording is a lot of fun. We do enjoy going out and playing a lot of live shows whenever we get the chance, because you get that instant feedback and all the free tomatoes. It's amazing.
Oh yeah,
can't beat it.
It's a wonder you were able to get any recording done with this guy.
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh, we have some fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we laugh a lot. Yeah,
we do.
Eventually, we kind of, we sort of hunker down. We get it done, and but it's fun. Just creating the music and listening to it, and it's kind of like solving a puzzle, where when you go into the studio, you're just kind of like a blank. Okay,
right.
What do we do with this? And where do we start? So, and then as you gradually get into the song, you start hearing in your mind instruments that belong in there, and you hear melodies and things, and you just don't know where it comes from. But and we've been in situations like that where just out of nowhere,
that's amazing.
Wind up doing these things and we just don't know where it came from. It's
I think it's probably like that with anybody, whether you're a painter, you're a sculptor, music writer, playwright. As it goes along, you get more and more ideas, and it develops like anything.
Right on.
I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful to have a songwriting partner that shares in the same beliefs of doing that. And the cool thing is there's no egos with Jorie and I. It's just like we trust each other of all these years, going on 14 years now. We've been doing this, and it's like if Jorie or I are like, maybe we could do better. We know we could, because they wouldn't say it for nothing, because we're not afraid to hurt each other. We wouldn't do it to hurt each other's feelings, but it's all for the best of the song. It's like your songs are your children, and you want to bring them up as well as you can.
That's beautiful.
It's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So as we're reaching the end of the show here, I'd like to take a moment for you to kind of let the listeners know your different social media accounts that they could kind of follow along and keep up to date on everything.
Hit it, Jorie Meister.
Yeah, it's first of all, Pondhawks.com. It's the word pond and the word hawks together. Hawks with an S on it, because some people, we get
what that is.
Misspellings all the time. It's like we were the Pondhawks or something. They'll come up with something.
Pond scum.
Pond scum. Pond dogs, whatever. That's the when we're writing moments.
Pound dogs.
So, okay, and it'd be Instagram.com/thepondhawks. So it's pretty easy, because we wouldn't be able to remember all that stuff with XYZ or whatever in there. So so you can go to Pondhawks.com. You can go to Pondhawksmusic.com, where we have a page where you can buy our stuff if you want. Reverb Nation has all our music playing on our page, which is reverbnation.com, the Pondhawks. So
I'm starting to see a bit of a pattern here.
We made it easy, for everybody. Just check us out. We are approaching on Facebook, which I just saw today. We're at close to 620,000 followers.
Wow!
On Facebook.
Holy cow!
Yeah, but they're all giving us a finger. So don't.
Well, you know what? I didn't realize that. Facebook. You have likes where you could just like a page, but you also are able to follow the page.
Right.
So
that's very nice. That's nice.
Yeah. So we had more likes than we had followers about a month ago, and now that's completely turned around.
That's great. That's perfect.
Yeah, it's really good.
Now, if they would all show up at our doorstep tomorrow morning, we'd have to make a ton of French toast. Coffee.
Yep. Make sure the coffee's on.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you both very much for joining me tonight. This has been so much fun. You guys are full of life and energy and fun comedy. It's been great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it wholeheartedly.
And I hope that all the listeners that tune in and listen to this, that they all had as much fun laughing as I did. Mario is an amazing comedian. I'm surprised that's not his second job. And Jorie,
I used to do stand-up back in the day.
He was a stand-up.
I used to work with Emo Phillips and Judy Tenuta. I don't know, probably you guys not know there, but they work with Weird Al and all that.
Oh my gosh.
Fun stuff.
Well, I'm sorry that we weren't able to get to that. We're just going to have to bring you back on to talk about that.
Yeah, we just have to be back on the show, won't we?
Yep, just going to have to.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Thank you. All right.
But again, thank you, listeners. If it wasn't for fans like you, this show wouldn't exist, and I wouldn't be doing it. So thank you all very much, and we'll see you all next time. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, creatures of all ages, what an amazing show. Thank you for lending an ear and joining us. I'm the host, Ray Rumsey, and if you want to hear more interviews, simply head to anywhere podcasts are heard, Facebook or Twitter, and search The Leo Effects, with an A, not an E. If you'd like to hear me doing silly voices and making a general fool of myself, head over to Shattered Dungeons on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We live stream every Tuesday night. More projects are in the works. For now, stay tuned for more interviews. To book yourself as a guest, you can head to theleoeffects.wixsite.com/podcast or send me an email at theleoeffects@gmail.com. Remember, this has been The Leo Effects, and great shows require great listeners, just like you. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.